in the old chat to the new one.
All right, we're live.
Right on.
Oh man, that seemed like it was fair use. We were just talking over it and talking about it.
Are
We
we
were giving
live?
commentary.
Yeah.
It's counting down. Okay, 24, 23.
Now we're up, man. We're up.
Yeah,
I think there's
we're
probably just the delay.
Yeah. Oh shit! I need to get the new chat up now, don't I?
Yikes!
Still got the old chat box popped up. Link is just above MrHowley. I don't know why I'm saying that in here. You can't hear me. You're in the old one, aren't you?
Oh, I see what's
we
wrong.
can hear you. We see you. Will y'all sit still?
You know,
Oh,
guys,
this is just like completely the old one. Okay.
when we break the rules, you know, it's fun while it lasts, but apparently, always the man's gonna catch us. The algorithm.
Algorithm.
Have you ever heard algorithm? Watch.
I don't think white people have rhythm.
Watch.
I sure as shit don't.
Watch here. Here's algorithm. Ready? Hi, you remember me? I was Bill Clinton's vice president. I almost legitimately won the presidency, but the Supreme Court took it away from me.
Here,
and a one. And
Elon Moran put this really great thing in here. It says, did you guys notice Liandrin alluding to how the books depict Perrin and Egwene's White Cloak rescue? She mentions a plan after your own heart to Moraine, referring to sneaking in and using lightning. I didn't notice.
I wondered what that was about. I was like, what plan are they talking about? I couldn't think of anything that I should have known. But yeah, I wonder if that's like foreshadowing for the next episode.
Right on.
Or episode 6.
Okay.
Great point.
Excellent.
So we're just talking about any bits of the show now, I guess.
We're just talking about any bits of the show, but let's continue to talk, I guess, at least a little bit about the evil sand that crawls in and out of Matt's mouth. I like that. I never considered that
like
even
a visual
visually
representation.
Yeah. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's cool.
It even makes more sense now to have, like, instead of having it be the white mist, have MaTsDaGgerX be the toxic zombie death play, because everybody would have just thought like he had just taken like a fat hit off a joint if they had just like mist coming out of his mouth instead.
Right. Yeah. Smoking like, a few of us back again. Yeah.
So, it's like, we get it, you vape. Cool. I also want to talk about Rand's dream.
Oh, best one yet. It was so good. I was like, that right there, that looks like Tel'Aran'rhiod. It probably wasn't quite, because it was
Dream
weird.
Shad, right?
Yeah.
Dream
but
Shad.
Rand looks so terrified. I was like, he looks more frightened in that than he did Winter Night, than any of it. Like the fear that Yosha managed to get on his face was just intense. It was so good.
My working theory, by the way, I don't know if you... I think I posted this on Twitter. My working theory is that Balsamon is Steve.
Maybe.
Balls on your mom?
Balls on your mom?
If you actually like look at Ishi, Balsamon, whatever it is, and like look at the facial structure, they have like some similarities in like up here and like down this part. Like they have some of the same bumps on their face, almost as if like they haven't even done any practical work on him. Just not that they haven't done makeup or anything, but they haven't put like prosthetics on him or anything. It's like it's actually the same face. But yeah, that's just me. I don't think anyone else is on board with that. Oh, you know, it's flaming eye patches.
So I won't play it. I'll just show pictures of it. That'll work.
Yeah, that'll probably work.
All right. Oops. Boom and add a stream. All right, we'll do it like that.
Yeah, he looks so frightened.
And this does it. So Perrin is bashing a body. Are we to assume that is his wife, Layla?
I thought it was Layla, but then I watched someone else. It was a reader, and they said it was a tinker. I thought it was Layla, but
I'm pretty sure it's Layla 'cause she's got a braid and she's wearing a ring.
that's what I thought.
And it makes sense. Occam's razor.
Dan, Ryan had put in the chat over here that you should turn off the subtitles. Maybe that was one of the things that got you kicked off.
Oh,
that
yeah,
was really
I turned them off
outlandish.
early, so
Okay.
they were on earlier. Maybe. Gosh darn it.
He looks a little.
Whatever.
He looks a little less cheesy in a still, but yeah, he just
Look how massive his head is there.
yeah he
Is that
just
edited? Did you edit? Did you blow up his face?
No,
and make it
no,
like
no,
you?
I did not. This is straight from the film.
See, I haven't looked at this shot of him. I've froze it on the one from I think maybe Perrin's stream. But yeah, I haven't froze it in that shot. That looks like it's just been enlarged. It's ridiculous.
yeah seriously, that just looks like an expensive Halloween prop.
It looks like a me character.
Yeah, one of the other things that I think about as far as like, to go back to, Perrin and Layla, I was watching a Never Reader and they made a comment after that whole scene because every single one of them is just like, oh, after that scene. They commented on the fact that, they had thought that the first episode was really good, but it was just sort of like, it was kind of like fun and lighthearted. And then even with the Trollocs, it's like people have seen stuff like that before. Every single one of them, when they see the Fate on the horse, they're all like Voldemort. Every single one.
Yeah.
And then it's sort of like with the Trollocs, it's like every single one, even though they're really well done, they've all seen it before. They've seen orcs, they've seen, whatever. And so while they look good, it's nothing anybody hasn't seen before. So one person in particular was like, yeah, I've seen this, but whatever, it's a good show. But then that let me know that like, this is just like, it doesn't fuck around. And so I was just kind of like, maybe that's one of the reasons they chose to do it too, was just sort of like to just turn it up to 11 to let all of the people who've never read the books know that, yeah, you've seen a lot of stuff similar to this because everybody ripped off from this and then made it into shows. And so while this came before, you've seen everything that's derivative from this, but this is serious and this is how we're going to show you. And that made me, I never disliked it the way a lot of people did, but I came to appreciate it more after the fact because I was like, oh, the shock value of it is actually really effective for hooking viewers who might otherwise be like, oh, this is just, fantasy. So
yeah, I'm personally not a fan of how they've. I don't want to say I'm not a fan of how they've done him so far because I feel like each time we're seeing slightly more of him, and I think if it ends up in a place where he is talking to them, then I'm 100% on board with it. But if they just keep him through the whole season as this creepy figure that doesn't say anything, just jumps out and is meant to like scare you with a jump, I'm not on board with that. I think there's a lot more to the character.
Well, James, do you think that we're going to hear a Myrddraal speak?
Oh, I hope so. But then again, I thought that it would happen in this scene.
Mm-hmm. And we've only seen the like lamprey mouth, like the sucking eel type of teeth all the way down. It seems unlikely to me, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm honestly don't know, but I hope that we do.
It'll have to talk from like the back of its throat, so it's gonna have like a real gargly.
Maybe we won't until we see Shaidar Haran, and that will be another distinguishing feature of him.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Otherwise, I was thinking more that he would sound like Ray Romano, Morgan.
Please don't. I fucking hate him. It's like
Brando.
Yeah, maybe rather than doing he's much larger than another Myrddraal, he's just the only one that's ever spoken. That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad narrative change. They don't really need to talk.
Yeah, I can't think of many examples where they do. There's a couple times when I think I can think of a few occasions in the books where a murderer speaks to someone, but honestly, I can't remember if it was a murderer or if it was Shaidar Haran.
Yeah, if they've got to
every one of
pass
those times.
instructions to Dark Friends, they can just like hand them a note or something. So,
but also that kind of doesn't line up with the whole idea of, oh, I called a fade. Yeah, we just FaceTimed. He's coming.
yeah, I've called them, you know.
I pushed my dark mark. Yeah,
I
don't
use
know.
this tech Terang grill. It's a
That's
Nokia.
what my wife
they never
said.
break.
She put her wand to the tattoo on her forearm.
Yeah, I don't know.
What did you guys think about this fight?
I think that Alexandra needs to practice his getting his knives out of his coat pocket, because he really fumbled, and the fade, if it were like a real fade, would have totally killed him in the time. He was not smooth getting that second set of knives out of his coat pockets.
Right. He's like, oh, you caught that one. Oh, hold on. I got another.
He's like, hold on, I got it here. Give me a second. Yeah, and I would have taken a second take if I were filming that scene.
I think that's probably cinematic choice, though,
Yeah.
so that the audience is aware of it. I don't think that. I think, if it was a real fade, it would have killed him in that moment. But I think if it was a real Tom, he wouldn't have done that. It's just so the audience gets a bit like, oh, maybe he's gonna die, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he got shut in there, so now they get to, worry about it. But yeah, just the fact that he could kick it and it could fly back, it did make him...
I don't think that's what happened. I've seen people saying that, and it looks like that, don't get me wrong. But my working theory is that it was like slinking back to the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
It was trying to get towards the shadowy part of the room. So I don't think like his kick was what propelled it. I think it got kicked, and at the same time it was like, okay, I'm just gonna roll with this and go back to the shadows.
Yeah, it's possible. I thought it was a good scene, but yeah, I would have liked it if Tom had just been a bit smoother pulling his second set of knives. And for the most part, I was pretty happy with it. In the end, the boys ran away and Tom, quote unquote, sacrificed himself. And, I have a handful of issues even with the Tom scene in the book. So it's just kind of like, they can work with it. And I'm not, Nynaeve's mana burst.
Nano burst?
Mana burst. It's, the Dragon Age video games, they borrowed liberally from the Wheel of Time series, but they have lots of when you're playing a video game, spells or ability combos have names, so it's just sort of like mana burst is one of those, and I can't remember what it does, but it looks like this. So
I've genuinely I've wanted, like, so long in my head, I've been thinking Dragon Age is totally based off the Wheel of Time.
Oh yeah,
and I've never gone back to play it since I've had that thought. I probably had the thought about a year and a half ago, but like, it's so totally like ingrained in it.
So much of it,
inspired at least, not based off. I shouldn't say that, but very heavily inspired by the Wheel of Time.
Very much.
So any gamers who haven't played Dragon Age, go play Dragon Age.
I highly recommend it. I mean,
play it again soon.
Yeah, the old console.
Yeah, you can get it on. I mean, it's old. Like the original game, it was put out in like 2009. I think the fall of 2009, and then
Origins,
the second, Origins, and the second game came out in like 2011. And then Inquisition came out in 2015. 2014.
It's like last gen, so you can still get it on PC, but it was like PS3, Xbox 360.
Yeah, but I couldn't recommend it more. It's beautifully written. It is all of the games are wonderfully written, and
I don't know anything about the sequels.
Okay, well, I think that they're really good. A lot of people hate the second game because it was put out really fast, but for a game that had to get pushed out in like a year and a half, it was really well done, and the story is better than the first one, I think, even if the actual world that they build is much smaller. But anyway, they borrow a lot. They have a world of dreams. They have they make certain mages tranquil rather than gentling them. They have a lot of stuff.
They have blood magic as well. That
blood magic,
nuts.
Yeah, what the
And like
dark,
Templars that are hunting down all the wizards and
Yep.
witches.
what dark spawn instead of shadow spawn. Yeah, they've got a lot of stuff. So it's its own thing, but it also borrows liberally, and that's fine. So anyway, yeah. So this is I always call this a mana burst.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was a rousing commercial for that. I kind of want myself a little dragon.
It's my second. It's my other major nerdery. So.
Oh,
Is
really?
that game or video games?
I see. I've only played the first one, but I played it a lot and I loved it.
Oh yeah, I've beaten it dozens of times. The first, the second, and then Inquisition. I've only played a couple of times because I played it a handful of times, but shortly after that, I split up with my ex, and I was like, you can have the TV and the PlayStations, and I'll take the other stuff.
Getting back to the actual scene.
Okay.
I think the main thing that people are questioning about this is how Logan sees the light of the raging sun. Working theories I've heard are men can see women's weaves. She's TAVERN, or that it's like a light artifact of the weaves. Like light is actually being created in the weaves. By the weaves, like sometimes they make a glowing ball of light, don't they? And they do it intentionally, but I think because the character doesn't really know what she's doing, and like she's praying to the light in that moment, it could be manifesting in actual light.
I think Sarah Nakamura
Don't know
answered that.
Oh, really? Because I haven't seen that.
I think she answered it, and she specifically said, in fact, they might even have the facts in the trivia on the side, that he cannot see her weaves, and that maybe he's just like covering his eyes or cowering because he's realizing that what she is doing is far beyond anything he could ever do. So maybe he's like in that moment realizing that he indeed is not the dragon because he truly believes that he was. But because he can see her flying braids and her,
I feel like it is actually creating light though. I'm not saying he can see her weaves, but the effects of her weaves.
It's
the
possible.
same as when they make like a torch ball that they carry around when they're in a dark place. Like I feel like that there is light coming off her, and someone said in chat as well that her hair like implies that there's some sort of physical effect going on, like there must be wind rushing around her or something. Dust kicks up and someone else covers their eyes as well, apparently.
If I did not want people to think that men could see women's weaves, I would not have filmed it this way, where he's covering his eyes and turning away. I would have.
But he doesn't have to see her weaves to see light.
That's true.
By her weaves.
That's true. So yeah, maybe they'll have like when, I don't know. Because,
no, Zach has the answer. Logan had an eye transplant, and it's a female eyeball.
So while we're going with zany theories, I have to, while we've got an audience here, address a couple of the things that I've seen in non-viewer reactions.
Okay.
One theory I heard, which was fantastic. Someone thought that Tom was the reincarnation of a Shamael.
Okay.
Like,
how would they even know Ishmael? There's only been one mention of it, and that's from Dana, correct?
Yeah. Right after that scene, they were like, okay, so who's this Ishmael guy? Is he being reincarnated? Is Tom the reincarnation of him?
Shit.
But then, like, she ran with it and kept going.
I haven't heard that one.
It was hilarious. Yeah, what have you got one?
I've just the number of non-readers who have been like, I wonder if they're all the dragon or they all have part of the dragon in them. So they're all going with the like Voltron or Captain Planet theory. So
my sister said that. She also said that she thought that there was some sort of transference of souls, that when someone is dying, they need to look in someone's eyes. So it happened with Layla and Perrin. Perrin's like, look at me, look at me, look at me. Then later, as my sister says, the elderly gentleman that Nynaeve tried to save, which we think is probably Senbui.
Not a Senbui.
They were staring
Okay.
at each other's eyes, and she thought that had more meaning than it may have. She also thinks that the power comes from the ring.
Yeah, a
That
lot of
hasn't
people
been
think
dispelled.
that.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it's been dispelled now.
We call the wolf, we call it Neosporin because its saliva apparently healed Perrin's leg.
Yeah, I think that was the implication, right? Yeah, I found that a bit weird. Not gonna lie.
I mean, I would love him to look at his leg and see it like all healed or something.
Yeah, just the fact that they didn't address it again after the second episode was what I found odd more than the fact that the wolf could heal it.
I thought that looking at the scene where they kind of pan back and he's walking in the line with the Tinkers, it looks like he's like limping along a little bit, but I could be wrong. It gives like a slight view like he's favoring the leg, but I may just be projecting. But I really don't want them perpetuating myths that letting dogs lick wounds heals them, because that's nasty.
Especially for the wild, I guess.
Yeah.
Like they could have just been eating shit.
Yeah.
Right. That's my dog eats all kinds of shit.
Yeah, you let your dog raid the cat box and then lick your cut. Gross.
I would not.
Hopper is antibacterial. Oh yeah, Aram is a dark friend. That's one I've heard as well. That's interesting.
So, okay, Eamon Valda, they're combining him with Jacob Carradine, I'm assuming, since they made him a questioner. So is he going to be a dark friend?
Probably, and I always get confused between them two anyway.
Okay.
I always like blurred lines in my head, so I don't have any problem with that one. The one the combination I have heard people suggest it is Liandrin with Elida.
Yeah,
I really don't like that.
I don't think they'll do that.
I don't want Valda to be a dark friend. I just want him to be a justice warrior. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really want him to be a dark friend either. I was actually hoping they would combine him with Pedron Nile, because it was just sort of like he becomes the Lord Captain Commander anyway, so they might as well just combine him. But,
I feel like we're going to see more of the White Cloaks in the next episode, so it's not the right time to talk about it. But yeah, I can see Liandrin being combined with another character. But I think it's actually more likely to be Galena.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind her being combined with Galena, even though, that means that she'll suffer horribly later, because, yeah, I've liked her a little bit. But, oh my god, you want to talk about a beautiful Liandrin scene? I loved the scene between her and Nynaeve, because Nynaeve was just such a boss about it. I was just kind of like, that's how you just take control of a situation where you're just kind of like, I'm like,
Liandrin smiled straight back when she asked about Moraine, was just like, perfect.
That's true, because in the end, Liandrin's like, she thinks that she's going to get what she wants. She's like, so she gets that look on her face like, oh, this woman, isn't speaking to an Aes Sedai the way she's supposed to. So she comes to her thinking she's being all clever, like I'm gonna condescend to this village woman and come across like I'm being very respectful, and then Nynaeve just like calls her out in such a like village wisdom, slapping her down, and then it's just sort of like the Nynaeve like gets what she wants out of her. Liandrin thinks she's getting what she wants out of her, which is to turn her against Moraine, but she doesn't need to do that, because Nynaeve already feels like how she feels about it, and then she leaves thinking, oh, I've basically made an ally. It's immediately like, that woman's a snake. It's just sort of like...
Do we assume that Nynaeve is just camping up on that cliff while the camp is down below, and they both invite her and say, hey, you can come have dinner with the Reds, and then later Lan says, you want to share our campfire? It alludes, at least to me, that she had not participated in either of those activities.
I think they just got there that day.
Yeah. I think that was like immediately after arriving, right? Because we went in the same shot to eventually get to Moraine being healed, so that would happen straight away, right?
Yeah, and then like I don't know where she got her chicken leg, but
that looks like fried chicken for real. That looked like Popeyes.
it looks pretty tasty, but yeah, she's eating her cold chicken, and Liandrin's just sort of like, yeah, we got gourmet meals. I loved the tents, because I was like, that's so descriptive of exactly the kind of like luxury that the Aes Sedai always travel in, the rebel camp and everything, and they all have their fancy chests and their carpets and everything. And I was just sort of like, exactly.
But they do have their own separate camps, more or less. There's the green section and the red section. More, it sounded like to me. So when she said you can come have dinner with the Reds tonight, it suggested to me that they were not dining together. They didn't necessarily intermingle with food. Maybe it was just all the Red sister, only 4 of them. As a big ass tent for only 4 of them. But
one link I made as well that I'm not sure I've seen around elsewhere is that the yellow sister that we see Valda burn in episode 2, I believe she was part of the same group, and I believe that's how he knew that a contingent of sisters had been sent, because there were 7 Aes Sedai in the group that Moraine came across, and he said 8. I heard 8 Aes Sedai have been sent south to deal with Logain. So she's the missing one, I think. The yellow sister.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think so as well. And his information was pretty spot on, whether he saw it or not.
So, what I want to know is how the hell did he get that yellow sister out of a group of 8 Aes Sedai?
Well, hopefully they'll fill that in next episode. They seem to be pretty good about filling things in, and
could that be a prologue if it's
maybe
not Dark Transocial?
That would be her second prologue. She wouldn't be a part of the main story at all.
Yeah.
But
probably.
I would love to know how they captured her. We had theorized that maybe she had accidentally stumbled upon like an abandoned Ogier Grove and couldn't channel. Or perhaps they have like some sort of like a Angriel that just like blocks channeling.
Well, she can't use the one power as a weapon unless she actually feels in danger. So they could lure her in. They could even have someone, dressed in civilian clothes and be like, hey, I need to be healed or whatever. And then just conk her over the head, attack her from stealth, blunted arrow, basically, tranquilizer dart, something like that. Well, no, a blunted arrow is like, their version of a tranquilizer dart, just in the head and knock her out.
That's a great point. What do you think about us seeing this gentling? The man floats in the air and all his inner ooze.
I think all the ooze was fantastic. I think the way he jerked around in the air was not very well done. The way he sort of like, he's very, like, it looks like he's on strings and he's being pulled about. I love all the channel, sort of the taint side in pouring out of his chest. I think that's fantastic, but just like the way his body moves in the air looks badly done. It's probably the only complaint I have in this entire episode.
Yeah,
I really like the linking.
I love the linking too, yeah.
The way they're like whipping their arms, I thought that was corny. It seemed a little bit extra. They need to be careful to not do any stuff that makes them look like, some version of like superhero movies. Like the scene where Alana is stopping the arrows looks a little bit like, some kind of Marvel shit. And it's like, I had seen that scene in the trailer, so you didn't get to see the bit where she waits and then, snaps them down, which I felt like redeemed it at that point, because, at that point I was like, okay, that's pretty awesome. She waits till she actually feels a physical danger and then uses it against them.
I thought it was a really subtle hint at the oath.
Yeah. I thought that was good. And at that point I'm like, okay, that makes it less like derivative of like a superhero movie or something. But yeah, I feel like they need to be better about not making the Aes Sedai. I mean, I know that they're showing that, people learn different ways, and that's very much true to canon. Like some women learn and they're very hand gestury. I feel like if we meet Aigil and they're not hand gestury, and that will kind of help the canon to show, there's a reason why Logain.
I 100% think that's the case.
But at the same time, it's just kind of like they should tone it back a little bit, because it looks cheesy to be doing too much, abracadabra hand wavy. And I wish that they had done something a little bit more like, just like grab him by his arms, keep him knelt down like the dude was in the first episode, and where it just looks a little bit more like less magic and more just like somebody being getting their judgment or their punishment. What I did appreciate is after it was over, it does a shot in on Moraine on the side, and you get this look on her face like, oh shit, we're in trouble. And I appreciated that expression on her face. Yeah. She's like, oh, we done fucked up.
Right. Yeah. This was a great fucking episode, man.
Yeah.
Great fucking episode.
Yeah, like Liandrin looks super smug and vindicated and like, yeah, I got what I wanted. And Moraine's like, whatever justification that we had, we done fucked up. Done
fucked up. We let's talk a little bit about the campfire scene. We have we have the coolest relationships ever between these men. They are able to be themselves. They're able to talk shit about Lan. Lan is just jovial. There's affection between two of the warders that are obvious. I mean, Nynaeve's like, you guys are fucking partiers. I thought you guys sucked, and you guys are the best.
They're like, we like you.
Yeah.
I tracked him, and they're like, oh snap! Oh Lan, you suck.
Yeah, like they made it a point to just be like hassling Lon all the time, and he was a good sport about it, and it was just, it was a wonderful, and it's like you hear about that in the stories, you're like, you hear about warder camaraderie, that they're talking and laughing, but you never get like a actual scene where that's broken down because you're never in
from a warder.
you're never in the eyes of someone who would participate in a scene like that. So getting that. And it's so very Nynaeve for her to be like, I'm not going to hang out with these women. I'm going to hang out with people who seem like real people and people who aren't going to want anything from me, because she made a fair point. Obviously, you want something, Liandrin. You Aes Sedai always do, which is fair. That's a fair point to call her out on. Even Moraine wanted something when she came and approached her in the pool. She wanted to know how old she was, to make sure that she wasn't young enough to be the dragon. And so it's sort of like, while Moraine seems far less mercenary and just, I don't know, self-serving than a lot of Aes Sedai, she's still an Aes Sedai with a duty and, motivations. And whereas the warders, just their duty and motivation is just to protect, and, they have a much purer focus where they're just kind of like, it's like people who, join a cause for the very pure motivations and ideals and don't concern themselves so much with the fact that when you get down to it, the things that get done to further the cause are not necessarily good things. So
I'll say as well, I loved the whole reference towards drinking passing both ways through the bond.
Right.
And Moraine got emotional. Like, that got me emotional. And also, do you think Ivon shoots an arrow for each one of his sexual partners? Because I thought that was the most awesome thing about him as a character, that every time he drew his bow, he was firing 2 arrows at once. I was just like, the fuck is this guy firing 2 arrows all over the place? 2 over there, 2 over there. And I just made the link in my head.
What am I seeing?
He was just like kind of wasn't even pulling it back very hard, just like doing, like just
machine
little shots. That battle was cool. I liked seeing at a couple times where the ground, like you could see the trail before it blew up.
Yeah, those were amazing, and I think a lot of that stuff was done in shot as well from the behind the scenes video. Like, it was actual stuff in the camera, not visual effects. I mean, like they were actually exploding things.
Yeah, she had her like little ground mortars that she was doing, which was just like really cool. I liked seeing Green Sisters actually be good at fighting.
Right.
Yeah, I've really liked the representation between Alana's two warders. I really appreciated it. It was like, it seemed like good bisexual representation in the sense that both of her warders seemed obviously queer. At the same time, like a lot of people with bisexuals, they either get, assumed to be straight because they seem straight, or assumed to be gay because they seem gay. And so it's just sort of like having these two guys who seem really gay, and then they go, with their Aes Sedai, and it's just sort of like they have
the
this
woman who keeps them exhausted.
Yeah, the woman who keeps them exhausted, and it's just sort of like, so they have this great little throuple, and I liked that Nynaeve didn't seem judgy about it because she's way too, conservative and judgy in the books, and that always.
She goes, they're not gonna, and Stepan's like, hey baby, and just takes a drink, and so I mean, she was judgmental, but she got over it, I would say.
I feel like she just had a question because it was like so beyond. But
she was just sheltered, not judgmental. Yeah. Like she hadn't seen anything like that before.
Yeah, she's like, they don't. And then everybody just kind of gave her a look, and then she immediately was like, oh, they do. But she didn't look. Her facial expression was not judgmental, more just like she had a question answered, and it added to her worldview.
No, I get it. Yeah. Sure. The only judgment is she didn't say, "Are they going to?" She said, "They don't."
That's
not
fair.
Going to. Yeah,
they don't. Oh, yeah. They do. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was great representation, just particularly from a point of view of like, because as a bisexual person who looks very obviously gay, it's like you get assumed to be something, or if you look straight, you get assumed to be something. So it's just kind of like seeing those two guys, be so. They seemed really gay. I believe the one had eyeliner on, which I really liked. It was just kind of like, it was nice. It was nice to see that, and then see them just get up and go off with their Aes Sedai to get exhausted, go get tired out.
I actually appreciate as well that we're sticking to Jordan fashion of fade to black when something like that goes down.
Yeah.
I think if there'd been sex scenes all over the place, my dad wouldn't have watched all 4 episodes with me. He'd have stopped after the first one. And that would have sucked, because now I'm getting to experience the story with him. And to be honest, it doesn't make a difference to me if there's sex on screen or not. Like, it's either there or it isn't. It's not like something I care about, like excessively. Game of Thrones, it's just too much. I really appreciate that they cut to black in those moments, because that's exactly what Robert Jordan did.
James, to your point, when Rand pulled out a strawberry and was going to feed Egwene, I was like, fuck you. What is this, 9.5 weeks? What am
Yeah, but then she rebutted him, so it was fine.
She's like, no, nasty. Let's just fuck.
Like, you've been in your pocket all day. You ain't even wrap it up. Simple ass bitch. You could have brought me a basket or something.
She's just like, I also liked that it was a little strawberry. It's just
teeny little.
She's like, not a size queen about her strawberry. But yeah, I like that they're fading to black too, because it was just sort of like, yeah, it's especially in this day and age, it's like, people can, go to Pornhub if they want to see sex scenes. It's so easy. So it's just kind of like, you don't really need it, and it doesn't really add to it. It's just sort of like in the 90s. Yeah, I liked that in my television because I didn't have, sex on immediate dial-up on my computer. But nowadays it's like, don't waste my 57 minutes or whatever I've got on something that I can easily get after I watch a show. Yeah, it's just kind of like, at this point, it just feels like in this day and age, you're wasting television when you could be actually showing plot and stuff like that. So,
right. Egwene was sitting by herself. Rand came out and he had fallen asleep. He was shirtless. He put his pants on, I guess. Yeah. And that was that.
Yeah, I think the most nudity we've got is that bath scene in episode 1. And the whole point of that scene, although I think a lot of viewers have misconstrued it, is that to imply that they were platonic. But I think a lot of people have missed that.
Everybody has. They need to work harder to imply that it's a platonic relationship. Like the scene where he comes in and sits with her and they're talking, they're holding hands. All the non-readers, think that there's something going on between Moiraine
For
and
sure,
Lon.
for sure.
They're like one of them I was watching was just sort of like, I've never taken a bath with a coworker. It was just sort of like, I'm like,
And I think the thing is, in our culture, it's not normal to take a bath with a coworker, but in their culture, it is. And these viewers just don't understand that yet because, they haven't read the books. We understand that. So to us, it's like, well, yeah, of course they bathe together. That's just like Malkieri custom or Borderlands custom, even.
And Len's getting kind of become a spoiled little bitch. He's like, this water's cold.
I loved that. And that was just kind of the point, is to show some intimacy. I thought that was a great scene. We know from the trailer that we are going to go to the Borderlands. So I'm wondering if they are going to show us another type of bath scene so people will get a better idea.
Maybe.
People definitely do pick up on the chemistry between Lon and Nynaeve, that there's something, building between there, which once again, I think they did a beautiful job of just making that totally real. And
it comes to a head in that final climactic moment as well. So.
By the way, my wife has created the Twitter account Lan_buns. And her big question is, what is the perfect temperature of bathwater? So, anyways, Lan Buns, if you guys want, on Twitter.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, we're in agreement that this episode was
best
by
so far.
the best by far, right? And it was a good
I think
10
every
minutes
episode
longer.
has improved on the last, personally.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that 5 can top 4.
Yeah, I am really excited to see it. I'm impatient with people who are, still dragging it. It's just sort of like, if you don't like it, quit watching it, because it's just sort of like, this has been so good. And, listening to people drag it, it's just like, you're trying to ruin it for those of us who really like it, shut up. This is so good. It's just sort of like the way they're doing the narrative is just excellent. Do I like everything? No. So what? I think it's really good.
Know what's going to happen. And I really love that.
Yeah,
The fact that I'm surprised by
what do
things.
we make of this Nynaeve thing? I'm sorry. Go on. I'm sorry, James.
I was just going to say, she's on screen at the minute. Liandrin could be not a dark friend.
Yeah.
Like, that could be a thing. We could be thinking as viewers and as readers that Liandrin is a dark friend, but she might not be in this version.
So do you think that Egwene will just be captured by the Shanshin because of circumstance?
Maybe somebody else. Maybe somewhat. They've already shown that they're not afraid to get to places in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's integral to that plot line that it's Liandrin who takes them there.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, she's not a particularly effective dark friend, and having her not be one would be able to quickly cut a whole bunch of scenes, including if they're cutting Jacob Carradine, it will trim a whole bunch of those scenes. And since they cut out the dark friend who tries to kill Rand and Mat in the stable, cutting out her cuts out scenes with Jacob Carradine in book 7. So if they're trimming all of that out, trimming Liandrin trims all of her interactions with Jacob Carradine trimming Liandrin's dark friendness trims out all of her interactions with...
Well, what does she actually do other than taking a Gwyn and that party? Other than that...
Correct. We could substitute her with Lanfear in disguise. And boom, and then she's just...
There's any number of ways you could do it.
Yeah, yeah. The only other thing she does is get made an example of by Moghedien, and you don't even have to have that. Moghedien can do her Moghedienness in another way.
Mandarb's just said in chat as well, if she's not a dark friend, then yes, she could replace Elida, and that actually makes total sense for me, because around the time Liandrin's character disappears is around the time we start to see a lot more of Elida.
Yeah,
they cross there. So
I don't think they'll do that, but
it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
If she's not a dark friend and she's just the evil Red Arger bitch that goes after people and eventually crosses the Amelin seat, you know, that could be foreshadow. I've just thought of that, made that connection right now. Earlier in this episode, Karine says even Liandrin won't cross the Amyrlin seat.
Mm-hmm.
What if that's foreshadowing that she will eventually?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, she totally did right here, but it's just kind of like, I think that Elida is too important for them to get rid of her, particularly because we're going to, you know, it's like we know we're getting Elaine in season 2. I'm assuming we get to see Camelin in season 2 because
I wouldn't be sure on that.
I thought they put it on the map. We hear about it, like Dana talks about it.
You hear the Lion Throne mentioned, yeah.
So we might not see the city, but we might get an interior shot of like the palace or whatever. But I'm wondering if they're going to actually have Elaine be an initiate of the tower, or if they're just going to have her be the daughter heir. I'm not sure how I would feel about that if they have her not be an initiate. I really don't think having her not be a channeler is a good idea.
Hold on, put a pin in that real fast. You just blew my mind. So Dana, did she foreshadow everything we're seeing in season 2? Maybe an Ogier Grove, the Lion Throne of Vandor, and
the Stone of Tyr.
The Stone of Tyr.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I don't think so. I don't think we'll see Camelin in season 2. Personally, I don't think we'll go there at all. I think we'll meet Elaine in the White Tower.
It's possible.
For the first time, I think we'll see her in the White Tower.
But I think...
Oh, go ahead.
And I think we might see an Ogier steading sooner than that. I think we might see it in season 1.
I think we might see it next episode. I don't know. I think that one of the 2 actresses that Rafe revealed in the Comic-Con thing, I forget her name.
Well,
Natasha?
It's unconfirmed, right?
It hasn't been confirmed who she's playing.
Yeah, so it's just speculation.
Yeah, it's Natasha, and I can't remember the other woman's name. But
Mirasile.
Yeah, okay, so she, I think, plays Varen. The other woman, I'm pretty sure, is going to play Elida. And I think that they've got to have her because, like, her arc is so intertwined with Elaine, and it's just kind of like she is too significant for them to combine her with anyone else. I mean, she is just kind of like, she's a secondary main character, and so it's just kind of like, or at least an elite secondary character. I can't imagine them, like, trimming out her arc or combining her with someone else. It just...
I'm not suggesting that they would cut her. I'm suggesting they would combine her with another character.
No, I know that.
Like, trimming anything, because those characters don't exist in the narrative at the same time, really.
Right.
Not much, anyway.
But at that point, I think that rather than cutting or, you know, combining, they would make Liandrin Elida rather than making Elida Liandrin.
Sure.
So, and I heard about combining Liandrin and Alviarin. They might do that. I really hope they don't, though, because I feel the idea of having a white conspiring with a red, like starting the schism of the tower with this kind of cross-Aja conspiracy is important. But, you know, I guess we'll see how they do that. I don't know. It feels like, I don't know if there's foreshadowing or whatever in the intro thing, but I'm pretty sure when they do the whole weaving of everything and they show the Aes Sedai, I think they show the White Sister first. I'm not positive, but I think we see red and white first. Could be wrong. But yeah, I may be reading too much into it, but because I would hate it if they cut Alviarin and Elida, because I love their hate relationship. And I love how awful Alviarin is to her. It would make me sad. I'm just fingers crossed that they don't. But
Liandrin is probably going to assume most of the roles of the irate, angry, perhaps evil, bitchy Reds. Yeah. I mean, we've saw 3 other Reds and they didn't say a word.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're just set pieces for right now.
They didn't say a word, but they still managed to be bitchy Reds. Which is interesting.
And
did you notice as well how the sisters that went down in battle were all red because they don't have warders watching their backs?
Oh, that's a good point. And then they're like, all right, I got to heal. It was like a video game. It's like, I'm bleeding out.
Revive,
I'm bleeding out. And you're like,
revive,
I got you. Revive, yeah.
Yeah. Like, and
Stim
it takes
pack.
like 3 seconds to heal, and you got to hope you don't get hit in that time. Yeah.
Tap beat, tap beat, tap beat, tap beat. Okay.
Okay. The one cheesy thing I didn't like too is it's sort of like, because you got to pull some, like the red sister who got shot down, presumably while the camera was away, the sister who went and healed her pulled out the arrows. But when Nynaeve does her giant mana burst, it's like Moraine has Stepan's
Big
axe
spike.
literally like jammed in her side. Where did it go?
I thought the same thing.
Unless
I haven't heard anyone else say that other than you just now. So
yeah, maybe Nynaeve's rage turned it to mist or something. I don't know. But
I was like, did Moraine pull that out of shot? Like, did she just go, oh shit, she's going Super Saiyan, so I'm gonna just yank this out now and hope I'm in time.
So yeah, Benjamin says Liandrin plus Galena. I think that is the most likely.
Yeah, me too.
Which I could live with that.
Yeah, and I think that would, but again, both the characters don't really exist in the same space in the narrative, so like you could do it easy enough.
Yeah.
Without making a change to either of them.
Yeah, because Liandrin doesn't really do anything that's super important.
Saves casting another important actress, right?
Let's ask about. So Ran, we assume, channeled that door open.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think the question is more how.
Yeah,
if he did. I think the question is more how. Like,
we didn't see any of the black wisp. We didn't see any white wisp. We just heard like a wham, and Dana was like, "Oh wait, he's actually being effective." And then he busted down again, like he's the Rock.
But what I want to ask is, what do we actually think he did with the power to break down the door? Like, did he apply force to it with the power, or did he like weaken the hinges somehow with the power? Or like, I want to know what he did, rather than
whatever he did. He's not sick from it.
Yeah, they're probably getting rid of that part of the narrative because it's just there's no way to tell what happens beyond like an exposition. And it
hasn't been mentioned to anyone else because it would have been mentioned when Nynaeve caught up. That's when it was in the books, I think.
Yeah. So
we have Nynaeve did her explosion of light. Explosion of light. I think I saw at Coachella in 2008. Anyways, this was by far the most powerful that we've ever seen any channeling on the show. I mean, by far. It was everyone was blown the fuck away.
Yeah.
Logan was like, oh, I cannot handle your power. And then he gets splashed. But is this, we have Tom talking about Matt being able to channel. We had Rand breaking the door. We have Nynaeve exploding in power. We have talk of how powerful Egwene is.
Mm-hmm.
Is this all just a ways that they're trying to make it so people are guessing who the dragon is, or do you actually think
Beastmaster Perrin too? Don't leave that one out.
Well, but what happened with Nynaeve is next level. She went Super Saiyan. She went Avatar. She went, whatever anime you want to kind of say. Bleach. She went Bleach. She went Souls.
Let me ask you this though: if any of the Emmons Field 5 were gonna go nuclear at this point in the story, it'd be her, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, also it was sort of like, Matt has that bit of conversation where he says to Rand, Dana said the 5 of us, who's the 5th? Then the camera cuts to Logain. So it's just sort of like this kind of lets all of the non-readers be like, oh, the 5th must be Nynaeve, and also us, because we're all kind of like, who's the 5th as well. And so it does that. It allows, because so many of the Never readers are like, oh, she must be the dragon. So it kind of, and I was really surprised. I didn't figure that they would actually be able to successfully redirect or misdirect people about who the dragon was. I figure everybody would know. And it seems like a lot of people correctly guess, but plenty of people don't. And so the people who have no idea, I was really shocked at how many people are actually still guessing.
I've seen incorrect guesses around the internet, but everybody I've spoke to personally has got it right within an
They've
episode.
been keeping Rand in their back pocket for the most part. Egwene was the focus of the first episode. Rand was just her boyfriend.
People think it's him
Mm-hmm.
because he's not being given screen time, so it's almost like, well, they're trying to hide him away. He must be. I think that's the logic a lot of viewers are going with anyway.
Well, and one of the reasons I think they're not giving him any screen time is that objectively Rand is not particularly interesting, at least not like on the surface. Like his internal narrative, I think, is kind of interesting just because I feel like he is a very sweet and compelling character. They are starting to make him more interesting in the sense that they showed him being kind of assertive in episode 3, and then the scene where he diffuses the tension in episode 4 where he's like, sorry Farmer Grenwell, we weren't honest with you.
I'm pretty sure that's TAVERN as well, the first time we see TAVERN.
Yeah. And so I'm just kind of like, they're going to, I think, try to play up more moments where they show Rand showing, decency, kindness, leadership, those kinds of things that they really show in those 4 chapters with him and Mat on the road in book 1, which I think are great chapters, even though they're really just them walking on the road and going to different inns, because they show so many little vignettes of Rand really growing as a person and attaining, leadership and assertiveness and all of that kind of stuff. So I think they'll have to do a bit more of that. But for now, it's like, it's not even so much, I think, trying to redirect or, kind of keep him in their pocket, as just that he's not as interesting as the others, at least on the surface. And he doesn't get interesting until really shitty things start happening to him. So
that's one way of putting it.
Once he knows that he can channel and he starts feeling that burden, and they're not going to waste any of our time with his whole, like, I'm not the dragon, Tam is my father, and maybe we're going to, it made it sound like from Rafe that we are going to get a flashback to Winter Night.
Totally.
So at that point, maybe we're going to get that build up. We'll get a little bit of character development. Okay, and then we're going to know, all this time that he's been, because everybody else is also like, the non-readers are like, I don't like him, he's whiny, he's a little asshole, why has he been acting this way? We'll get that filled in and realize, he's been fighting with this whole internal struggle this time because, Daddy dropped this big reveal, and, and maybe he's been suspecting he's the one this whole time, and he doesn't want to be, because who would?
You've just hit on something that I've been sort of thinking in my own head is an underrated aspect of Yosha's performance. The fact that he's got all this moody internal monologue going on, and I've been trying to keep in mind that even though we haven't seen it yet, that scene did happen. Like, even if we don't see it, it did happen.
Mm-hmm.
And he's playing the character like he's in that space.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we never see it. And I really appreciate that aspect of it because I can see it in him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it might be confusing a lot of the newer viewers, but it will obviously get explained eventually, so it's not going to be a problem. And I really appreciate the fact that you can see in his acting that his character has been through that scene.
That is God, James, now that I'm thinking about it, him snapping at Moiraine, him kind of being an overall asshole, I guess. If looking through this burden that he's been carrying solo, which that's the Two Rivers way, you don't go to therapy, you don't talk about your feelings, you hide it, you put it in a little tiny honey cake in your heart.
A cake in your heart. A shit cake.
So because Rand has not been the most charismatic character in these 4 episodes. He has moments of very endearing, and in fact, right before Mat goes psycho with his blade on the fade, he kind of leans over and I don't know if he snuggles, if he spoons, but he's like, "Hey Mat, I got you. Don't worry about it. I'm never leaving you." And Tom was the same way. He's like, whatever we do, we got to protect this young man. They're gonna hurt him. And he's like, right. So we have that bit of love that goes on right before Matt goes, and then they're riding off. He drops the Brigitte doll. And yeah, we're going to have a rough bit of travel, I think, in the next episode or two.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Like, so I know where Perrin and Egwene's story is going in the next episode, roughly. I know where this party that we're seeing on the screen right now is going in the next episode, roughly. I don't know where Rand and Matt are going. Are they going to make it to the White Tower in episode 5?
Some episode, I'm pretty sure. We've seen like screens or pictures where Rand is in the White Tower.
It makes sense for them to get there first, right? Because they got to Camelin first in the book, so that would be the same narrative. They were there a bit before everybody else. And I can't see what else they're going to do with Rand and Matt in episode 5 other than take them straight to the White Tower.
Yeah, I feel like they might have one more incident that would allow for character development. From the things that they've showed, they at least have one scene where they get to see Logain, unless that's a misdirect in that one little bit of shot where you've got Logain walking
that
by.
happens at TAVERN.
Yeah, right. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like they should do, because it was like the scene where Rand kind of leans up and is like, hey, I'm here. I wish that it had been done a little bit better. I feel like it's accurate to the idea of someone struggling to articulate what they want to say in a situation where they don't know how to go about it, because it's sort of like, well, Matt would tell me, but maybe Matt doesn't even know what's happening. He's been being really weird, etc. So it's sort of like, how do I even approach this thing? Because I know what it's like to be in a situation where verbally you don't even know how to talk to someone because they're in a situation. So I guess it's realistic to have him just sit there for a second and be like, I'm here, whatever. But I feel like he could have done it better. I don't know. I hope that they have another scene of some manner of like
chat saying Veiled Omen, and I would absolutely adore Veiled Omen. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'd love it. If the next episode has Dark Friend Social into Veiled Omen, I am going to come. Like, straight up.
I was like, where are you going to go? And then I was like, oh.
No, he's coming.
That's it.
Do you think they're going to be on a boat at all?
I don't know.
I don't care if we get Doman, but I don't think we will. I'm actually thinking now that the next episode is going to be for Matt and Rand is going to have like less of them, but eventually them arriving in TAVERN at whatever in Basil Gillon's and maybe meeting Loyal towards the end of the episode.
All right.
Basil Gills is in Camelin, correct?
He's going to have to be in Tarvalon, though.
Yeah,
He'll be in Tarvalon.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm thinking that we are going to see an Ogier Grove, and we're not going to see Loyal until the Ogier Grove.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
I can see it happening.
Maureen's going to say we need to go use that Waygate / Portal Stone, and Loyal will be like, well, okay, I'll do it.
I struggle to see the rest of the Ogier agreeing to that, though. So I kind of feel like it makes more sense for us to meet Loyal in the same fashion.
Yeah, how they're written in the book, you're right. But the show, I've kind of just thrown all the pages up into the fan and seeing what they blow into. Yeah.
Okay, so are they cutting the Eye of the World? The end of the first book is so confusing because it is one example of the unreliable narrator making it so hard to understand what's going on. So it's like RJ's being true to his craft in that sense, but at the same time, it's like you can't explain what's happening, and so it's very confusing. So what are they going to do instead to make something simpler that people understand? And how are they going to figure out that it's where they need to go?
Well, we do have confirmation that I've heard that of the last 2 episodes, the name titles.
Okay.
So it was only released 6 of them. I have that number 7 is called The Dark Along the Ways.
Right.
Number 8 is called The Eye of the World.
Okay.
So I assume we will have some sort of interpretation of what goes on there.
It might be something as simple as like they find Pad and Fane along the ways or whatever, and he'll be like, the showdown is at the Eye of the World or something simple like that, which is, that's effective to do that. Which, yeah, I'm cool with. So, but I'm definitely excited for episode 5 because this has been so good. And I was just, the way that I'm really impressed at the way that they're doing the narrative in order to do world building to make sure that people who haven't read the books understand what's happening as much as they can understand what's happening and are invested in it, not just because it looks cool. Like, they did a great job at the end of the first episode because the first episode was a little bit slow with introducing everybody to just be like, okay, we'll end the first episode with just this like mega action, show you the one power and everything. So everybody will be like, that's so awesome. I'm going to watch episode 2, which was smart. And then going from there. And so, yeah, at this point, everybody that I watched episode 4, and admittedly, I don't tend to watch the ones that are like obviously complaining about it, but I've watched, I don't know, 6, 8 people who were just like so blown away. And there are so many people who like the minute that they can are watching it and trying to get it out. And so, yeah, seeing people who don't read it, who are just so hooked and so ready to go to watch it. Like this one kid who's watching it, he's just sort of like, it's Thanksgiving Day. I want to take a nap. I'm so full of food, but I have to watch this and film this right now because I'm so invested in this.
Yeah, I saw that guy. Busy.
Yeah, he's the one with the poofy hair and the headband. Yeah, he's so cute. He was just sort of like, I got to do this. And yeah.
I also got to mention that we have, there's a lot of friends who I've met over this past year and a half, almost 2 years that we've been doing the show that have been, that I've known through Discord and our chat that are now starting to create content because the show series is running. There's at least 3 or 4 that I can think of that have just started channels in the last week or 2. And I love it. I mean, cottage industries everywhere. Let's if you find someone who has like 5 or 10 subs, man, sub.
Yeah.
See what
and
they
give
do.
me some because I only have 140.
I have 38 subs. Help me out, guys.
Give Morgan subs. Seriously, everyone here, go find Morgan and Podcast of the Dragon. You guys have been listening for a while. You guys. And you know what? This chat, we dropped our stream drop because of our dang copyright thing, and you guys still came back and found us.
And we
you guys get an award. Girl Scout cookies to everyone. There's pizza in the back.
My
Girl
podcast
Scout cookies? Like what type of Girl Scout cookies?
Oh, I've got some of that in my little cabinet over there.
It's about 22% THC.
Oh, 28.
Oh,
I live in Oregon. We get like
yeah, I live in the UK. We don't get to choose.
Yeah.
So yeah,
what we're given.
Morgan, tell us about your podcast and your show, please, if you will.
Oh yeah, my podcast episodes are also now up on my YouTube, so you can listen to them there, as well as just on any kind of podcast app. There's a link on my Twitter, which is @PodOfTheDragon. I do topical literary analysis of the Wheel of Time, which is actually fun. It sounds a little bit dull, but it's a real deep dive into various topics. I am following the story along, but focusing on different things, relationships, characters, different stuff. I'm in the Shadow Rising right now. I just did an episode about Rand and his approach to being a king in Tyr and just kind of his beginning arc before he heads to Rhuidean. Right now I'm doing stuff about the show, but I'm thinking about doing a small mini-sode. And then once the show is done, I'll start focusing more on putting out episodes. But I've got some stuff up, and I have a lot of fun.
Morgan, I've said it before. I'll say it again. You are by far my favorite content creator. I adore how prolific you are being lately. You're hustling and getting shit out. I mean, I'm getting alerts like once a week now that you got something out. It's great, and your analysis is so non-cursory. It is so deep dive, and how you relate to the books, to your life, to other characters. It's wonderful to listen to. Your voice is very soothing. And if you ever get to listen to Pillow Talk with Pillow Friends, it is, your wife is fantastic too. And I love your interaction. So everyone, gosh, it's criminal that she only has, seriously, let's bump this puppet, pump it up.
I'll say as well, if you're a huge Dragon Age fan, we should totally do something like a video about like all the similarities between Dragon Age and the Wheel of Time. That'd be fun.
I was, honestly thinking about at some point I might switch, or not switch, but do a channel on Dragon Age, because like not so much a playthrough, because I don't play in the kind of strategic way that a lot of people play. Like there are people who are really good, or they'll do like build videos, which are fun to watch, but more like how much I appreciate the story. So a little bit kind of like I do my Wheel of Time videos, probably not quite so in depth, but yeah, it would be fun. And yeah, just like compare and contrast with the Wheel of Time, because
I think there's a lot of links there that you could draw.
So much.
And I've not sat down to actually like map it out and match things up, but I think, if I was to make a video about it, I definitely could. There's enough there.
There's so much. It's great. So,
yeah. I am. So, James, I know that we may get copyright bust, but it's the end of the show. So I'm going to play your latest video. Well,
go for it.
But before I do so, because I may have to cut it, can you tell us about what you've been doing? Your songs, I was giggling when I first came across. I mean, seriously giggling. And then I came across you guys. You were coming up with songs like every 2 weeks or so. I mean, just busting them out. I love it.
Yeah, I've slowed down a bit now.
Yeah, but seriously, tell us a little bit about your association with the Wheel of Time and what you're doing now.
I mean, yeah, I've been reading the books for, I don't know, since I was maybe 12, 13. I'm 25 now. Am I 25? I might be 26. One or the other.
Maths are so hard.
Yeah. I love fantasy. I love all fantasy, but specifically the Wheel of Time. Started making content about a year ago. But before that, it took me a long time to get through the series. I only actually finished the series probably about 2 years ago now.
Oh, wow.
Even though I started reading it such a long time ago, and I kind of did the thing of reading a bit into it, put it down for a few years, forget, starting from the beginning again, reading a bunch into it, put it down for a few years, forget, start again. And then eventually, like this most recent time, I got all the way through it. Now I'm back on Fires of Heaven again. But yeah, always loved the Wheel of Time. Got 2 Wheel of Time tattoos.
Let's go.
I've been 3D printing Murder.
Did you see Morgan's tattoos? Let me see your tattoos more closely, James, and let me see Morgan's. Hold on. First, let me zoom you in. Hold on. Let me get this. Oh shit. Hold on.
Well, I can't show you one of them. I can.
No, hold on. No, I want to do it like
the
this.
other one's in a sensitive position.
All right. Oh. All right. Solo layout. Let's see it.
I don't know how good this lighting's gonna be. It says Dovie Ende, Tobias again at the top, and then it's just kind of like a melting clock face.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't think the light's very good.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow, that's like a stopwatch.
Yeah.
That's great.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, the other one's just a heron mark, but it's on my inner thigh. So.
All right, so now let's get Morgan's. Hold on. Oh gosh, I'm getting there. I don't do this. All right, solo layout.
Oh, okay, yeah. So mine's not nearly as original, but yeah, here's my. My,
That's so wonderful.
yeah,
God, I
I
love
was
that.
actually thinking about getting some original ones. Talking to a tattoo artist, giving him a list of sword forms, and being like, run with this. There you go.
Yeah.
3D
yeah,
printed these curses. I've got the other one over there as well. Over
Right on.
another table.
but yeah, like giving a tattoo artist a list of sword form names and be like, could you, do like some manner of like, could you express this in a very simple tattoo, and maybe like getting him done on. I don't know if I'd actually have them done on my fingers. My wife thinks finger tattoos are sexy, but I'm not sure.
You have to get them redone a lot.
That's our rendition of mustache knuckling.
Right, from I was on that one episode of Watchinary. Oh, we should plug What a Holiday because it's only in a couple of weeks.
You're right. You're right. We will be participating in the 24-hour marathon that Rob from Malkiar Talks is doing. It's called What a Holiday.
Okay.
It begins on the 11th, I believe, through the 12th. It's 24 hours straight streaming.
Way of the Leaf is the last one. We're doing Watchinary. I am not drawing because I'm bad.
No, but we're teaming up. Morgan is we're sharing our slot, and we're ending it with a Watchinary, and we hope to get some fat donations. So guys, save it in the next 2 weeks. And December 12th, please. It would be great to see you guys. And it's a great thing. It's for charity. I mean,
Yeah,
tis the season, motherfuckers.
Yeah, there's a ton of great content creators that are participating, doing all kinds of cool stuff. And yeah, it's the Lightweaver charity. It's Brandon Sanderson's charity. They give stuff to people who need it. So yeah,
Stuff
as charities
What an
do.
accurate description of any charity ever.
So with Morgan and James, please and us, please hit the subscribe button, like it, hit the bell so you know when new content is. My brother and I actually do have a Patreon. 'Tis the season, motherfuckers. Go ahead and become Patreons. It's cool. It's cool. And let's go ahead and end this with a video, the newest video by Wheel Up Time. James.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise, I'm so glad that you guys joined us. Chat, thank you for being killer as always. You guys are my favorite people. And as Ryan would say, until next time, run for your lives, because this is the way of the leaf. Let me boom.
Enjoy.
You can hear that?
No audio.
Oh.
Or
All right.
Yeah, it might just not have started yet. Actually, there might not be.
No,
audio
it's
at
going.
that.
Hold on. I think I turned it all the way down. Oh, dang it. Oh, dang it.
Ryan's got to make you run the show alone more often, Dan.
I suck. All right.
I know, you'll learn.
Let me try one more time.
You'll learn.
Right.
I've gotten better at video editing finally.
Share tab audio. Yes. Okay. Share. Let's see. Go. All right. We'll see.
I mean, we're not seeing anything now.
Yeah, we don't see it.
Oh, fuck. I'm hearing it.
This is the outro, y'all. We're working on it.
Gosh, sorry. All right. One more time. All right. Share. Boom. Boom. Add to stream.
Okay.
Let's see.
All right.
Let's see.
Yeah.
The truth, not half the eye on the fan. I the sky, they all got me tripping. I can feel the pain, I think I'm slipping. Prince of Ravens, misbehaving, smoke to back, ayy. 2 rooms leaf, light that pipe, take it back, ayy. I was 15, setting badges loose on the green. Wisdom caught me and I ain't sit down for weeks. Stuff on my back and I hop on the pits, remembering war ways. I'm lucky and you couldn't touch me with that swordplay. No, I kept winning tosses, I just couldn't help it. I'm hoping my luck's and change. I wanna be running away, but I'm always saving the day. I'll be the first to rescue my loved ones if someone has put on me chains. Why they ain't got nothing to say? I'll go and cuddle the maid. Shouts to my pops for teaching the hustle. You know that we gotta get paid. Now we making stacks every day. That's if we jet till I land in a grave. Douglas touch on the sauce sends me mad. Village girls go get hitched when I pass. Got my life, so many clowns it makes me laugh. Hey, say I lost my mind, but you can't miss what you never had. Hey, the sacred loose, crystal sword I'm dripping. Drop the truth, not half the eye on the fan. I the sky, they all got me tripping. I can feel the pain, I think I'm slipping.
I need a version of that with your ad-libs in it, I gotta say.
Woo! My man.
That was fucking great.
Thank you.
Well done. Well done.
If you like that, go check out my channel.
That's all right. Let me stop sharing. And guys, all right, we're gonna wrap this up. On behalf of my brother, who has been in the background, he was unable to join us, not through choice, but by obligation. We should honor his commitment to his family and his life. And I hope things are perfect for you, Ryan, by tomorrow. And I missed you and I love you. Morgan, James, I didn't even do the 5 quick questions, but we'll get you on next time and I'll do that.
Sure thing, man.
My
Hopefully I
hands
can meet
hurt.
Ryan next time too, so my best to him.
Yeah, I shall. Morgan, is always, the tavern door is open for you, but in the meantime, I am going to actually close the tavern door. I guess that's the tavern door close. That was us getting the bums rush. All right. All right. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. This has been a great show. I wish Ryan could have joined us, but it's been a great show. And as always, be good humans, and we'll see you next week. Go get to reading. What? This just in. Right?
Hey, that was awesome. That was seriously a great job. Both you guys just were so compelling. So much fun to listen to.
Ryan, obviously the best.
Yeah, I mean,
So when the hell's our Ryan?
the show could only get better once I'm around.
There you are, man. All right. So, Ryan, I won't even say on behalf of you. Let's just both say goodbye and get to reading your filthy animals. We'll see you on Tuesday and on Sunday. And go have a good rest of your weekend. Right? All right.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye.